The holiday collections are here. Today we're looking at the Cle de Peau Holiday Collection, also known as Toward the Horizon Collection. And as always, the packaging is stunning. If you're not familiar with Cle de Peau or the holiday collections that they do, I've done videos where I've done the Will I Buy It, and I've talked about this is the collection that always, it rarely disappoints. It's just the packaging is always beautiful. So I'm going to talk about the collection today. I have almost all the pieces. I'll explain what I mean by that. And then I'll do some comparisons. I want to show you the previous packaging to get you an idea of what I'm talking about when it comes to the holiday packaging. And also, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Luminizer specifically and how it might fit or be very close to previous Luminizers and some complexity about this year's collection. So let's go ahead and dive in. They come in these boxes, which has the design elements on it. They are absolutely stunning, and I'll show you all the pieces in just a minute. This is the Holiday Limited Edition. It says Holiday Gifts Celebrating the Possibility of Infinite Radiance. And there are 2 Luminizers, 2 lipsticks, an eyeshadow palette, and then a bunch of face cleansers and moisturizers and that kind of stuff. Let me look exactly what's in here. There are gift sets. There is the age-defying cream, there's the serum, the cleansing oil, cleansing foam. I like oils, I tend to use the oils. The packaging is, like I said, it's absolutely stunning. So if you use any of their products or you're interested in any of those products, I'll make sure they're down below, and I'll tell you that if you're gonna get them, now's a great time to get them because the packaging is really unique and limited edition and all those good things. So the designs on the packaging, like you saw on the boxes, this is what it looks like. So this is the Eyeshadow Palette 501. This is Visions of Radiance. You see, I'm fairly sure they're mermaids. Not totally positive of that, but they look like mermaids. And then you've got the color story for the eyeshadow. It's not my favorite color story. I'm gonna do swatches, but I do love the packaging, and I'm actually going to be putting another Cle de Peau compact that I bought, the refill, into that one, which we'll talk about later. This is the Luminizer. Again, this is what the packaging looks like. I'll try to get it so that if it's so faceted, there we go. It's hard to see it. It's really stunning, and as you can see, it's got the faceting all over it. It's beautiful. Now, the Luminizer I bought is 106. This is Dawn of Destiny, and I'll explain in a minute why I'm specifically calling out the one that I bought. So this one has like green, pink, whoops. This one has green, pink, a little bit of cream in it. There we go. And there's another one. Again, this is 106, Dawn of Destiny. And the other one is, let me make sure I have the shade right. And the reason it's confusing, I'll get to. The other color is Radiant Aurora. Now, in the pictures, Radiant Aurora, these are the pictures on the Cle de Peau site. I'm going to Cle de Peau because I think they're the ones who make it. So I feel like that's the best way to do this. It shows this palette. It shows this color story, and with the name Radiant Aurora. But this is Dawn of Destiny, and it has this color story. So I think this color story is Dawn of Destiny because it's on the back of the packaging. It's on the actual component, and it's on the box. It's on this as well. So I think Dawn of Destiny is correct because I don't think they mismarked both the box and the packaging, the component. And I guess this has happened to other people. And then the one that is the purple one, this is the lavender one, and I'll show you the picture that'll go up here. I believe, now again, I could be wrong, but I believe that's Radiant Aurora. So, I don't know. I would like to get the lavender one. I'd like to purchase that one. But now I don't know which one to order because if I order Dawn of Destiny, because that shows the purple, am I just going to get this one again? But if I order the Radiant Aurora, it shows this picture too. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I will figure it out, but I do want to purchase the lavender one, so I'll work on that. If anyone has an answer about what is going on, and if they just accidentally switch the names and just to order the other name, then I will do that. But otherwise, I don't know. There are also 2 lipsticks, and the lipsticks again have this like stunning packaging. It's absolutely beautiful. It is the same design on both. One is a matte, one is a satin. The matte is, let me make sure I have the right shades here. The matte is Fearless in Coral, and the satin is Radiant in Pink. And I will show you both the shades, but I do have them on my lips now. I have actually both. I mix them together. So besides the fact that I don't really know what to tell you in regards to the Luminizers, I can tell you that, again, the packaging is stunning. To me, it is the most beautiful packaging I've seen for holiday, bar none. So I'm absolutely thrilled to have that. Some of the ones from previous years, this was one, is it last year? This might have been last, no, this is the year before last. Yes, this is the year before last. Sorry. I have last year's, but this is the year before last. It's got sort of the cardinals and lambs on it. This was the year before that. This was like the angels. You can see like the packaging every year is just stunning. Last year's I have in my drawer. So I was like, where did I put mine? These are like the constellations. Again, super faceted, so it's hard to see it, but there we go. So the packaging on all of these are just, I mean, they're beautiful. So I do buy these every year. I do buy the holiday collections. So what I would tell you is the Luminizers are very, very similar. Whatever shade this is, Radiant Aurora or Dawn of Destiny, it is a green, pinkish, white kind of shade. It's not gonna look, if I swatched it for you, I'll swatch it for you, but it's not gonna really look like much because it's a luminizer and it's a highlighter. I mean, that's really, you can use it all over the face, but it's a highlighter. And I do have ones from before that are very similar. So this is from last year. This is Radiant Superstar. It's 104. Now this one has pink and gold. That's 104. This is 105 Shimmering Orb. This has lavender in it and also green. Then we have the 102 Aglow in Wonder. Now this one is a little bit more like a bronzer. Not really, but has those kinds of shades. We have 105 Wonderful Radiance, which is kind of similar to the one this year, but not as green. This one's more blue. Then we have the one from the year before, Moon Shimmer, 101. Again, blue and lavender. Like I said, I have a lot of these. This one is 17 Celestial Sparks. This one is probably the closest. Well, we'll look. But I think this might be the closest to the one this year. This one's more minty green. We have 21 Daybreak Shimmer. More of like that purpley blue. We have 201 Twilight Glow, and this one is like more purple and coral almost. And then this one is number 16, and this has more of like that bronzy kind of look. So you can see there's none that are exactly like this one this year, the one that I have, whatever the name of it is. The green minty one, but there was one that was kind of similar. So I'll go ahead and swatch this on my hand. Like I said, I don't think you're gonna see much you'll see that it's like a highlighter, but the color itself, it's just got kind of a minty, pinkish highlighter. Now it's beautiful. These are very beautiful. They are also very strong. So if you're gonna use them all over the face, I would argue use it with a very fluffy brush. I tend to use them as highlighter. That's just me. And I tend to use a fluffy brush because I don't like a very strong highlighter, but I do think these are beautiful. So I'll go ahead and use this on the face. Yeah, I would say, you know, once I figure out what's going on about the highlighters and what the shade is and how to get the lavender one, I will pick it up. Because like I said, I've bought these through the years. I have some older ones too. So I feel like, you know, I want to collect it, but these are very expensive. I'll make sure all the prices are below when we talk about these things, but these are very expensive highlighters. So I don't want to just, you know, purchase them. And I got these from Saks. I have a great SA at Saks who works for Cle de Peau that I've worked with for years. She's in Chicago, actually. And so, you know, she reached out and told me these were available, and I was like, absolutely. So they only got this one in the store. So I don't really know what that means in regards to, you know, if online it's different. Online for Saks, it does have Dawn of Destiny, and it has the purple shade as well. So again, just not clear. And all of them come with this very beautiful lavender velvet little pouch. So you can put it right in here. Da-da-da-da-da. See, really nice. Okay, the eyeshadow palette. I'm gonna swatch this for you. And it's a beautiful palette. I mean, the way it looks is beautiful. But it's not my favorite color story because it's really pinks. So I bought the blue one. These are refillable. And so, and the Luminizers are as well. You can swap out Luminizers in the same way you can swap out these. So you can literally take this out and put in another compact. So I'm gonna take the blue one, which is the blue, I forgot what it is, Blue Danube? I can't remember now, but I did buy it. I bought the refill. So I'm gonna put it in here. I just felt like it was perfect with the mermaids and everything. So I'm gonna put the blue one in here and I'll use that in an upcoming video. But for today, we'll swatch this one so you can see what it is. I think it's very pretty. The sparks, the things on the front, those are going. The minute you swatch this, they're gone. But it still makes a very pretty presentation. The shades in here seem light. They don't seem to be uber deep shades. They are pigmented, but they're not, you know, Cle de Peau never really does like super pigmented shades. They're light, they're ethereal, they're soft. They're usually beautiful. Those are the 3 eyeshadow shades. And if you're not familiar, Cle de Peau recently came out with new shadows that are in this 4 square pan, rectangle pan. And one of the shades is a primer. It's like a creamy shadow almost. That's the creamy shade. It's really hard to see. It's a very light pink. It has a little bit of shimmer to it. It's really very pretty. So what I would say is if you want to make this more pink, go with these 3 shades. And if you want to make this more orange, go with these shades and leave the pink out a little bit. So I'm going to do a more orange look, a warmer look, because that's what I prefer. So I'm going to use a little less of the pink. It's not that I'm not going to use the pink. I'm just going to use less of it. So first I'm going to take the primer. Now, when I use the primer, I use the little sponge that's in here, or I use my finger. I feel like that's the best way to put it on. I did a video where I talked about this new formula and how you can use this primer. You don't have to use it just as primer. You don't have to use it all over the eye. You can use it like on top at the end. You can use it in any way you want. I do feel like it works well with the shades that it's chosen for. Like I think it was designed extremely well to work with the other shades. So I think if you decide to use it that way, it's very user-friendly and it makes it, you know, much easier to decide what you're gonna put down first and how you're gonna do your look, because you take the primer shade and you use it all over the eye and then use the other shades accordingly. You can put it on top of the other shades at the end, and that does work. I've done it, and I did it in, if I can remember which video I did it in, I will link to it so you can see how I did that. So the shade is not something that you can't use as shadow, but it's meant to be the primer. All right, so we're gonna take the pink shade and we're gonna lightly put that on all over the eye, lightly. So we're gonna take that pink shade, a very fluffy brush, and I'm just, you can see though, it's a pigmented pink. It's not like, and I'm going in so lightly and just like with a light hand. There's that light pink, that mid pink, but done very lightly on the eyes. I mean, it's like a touch of pink. It's not a lot. You can definitely deepen this up, but I'm trying to keep it lighter because I'm trying to make this a warmer look. That's the idea anyway. All right, so now we're gonna take the deeper shade that's in here, the shade, which is kind of like a rosy terracotta. You can see the depth of that. Definitely has some shade there. Just kind of smoothing it out, shaping it a little. What you'll notice when you do makeup on different people, but also yourself, you know, the two sides of your face are not totally symmetrical. It's why models get paid as much as they do, because models are about as symmetrical as you can be. So it's easier to do makeup and to do clothing because literally everything is exactly the same from side to side. When you work on everybody else, including yourself, you'll realize that one side of your face is a little bit different. So your eyes are a little bit different too. And so when you put on makeup, you have to kind of adjust the makeup depending on the differences. So those are the two shades. I haven't cleaned up, you know, the outside of the eye or anything, but it's actually really pretty and it definitely has some sparkle from that primer. Okay, so I cleaned out the outside of my eye just a little bit so you can see the look. Now I'm gonna take that peachy shade, that corally shade, and put that on the eyelid. And like I said, this is a lighter color story. It's not gonna be, you know, super deep, but I do think it has enough depth in it. I'm gonna use that deeper shade again. If you're looking for something that is kind of this peachy, corally pink color story, this is a pretty one. Not my favorite color story, but the shades are actually quite nice on the eye. All right, let me put on some mascara and then we'll come back and talk about the lips. Okay, back with mascara on. As I said, I think it's a very pretty look. I think it's Cle de Peau quality. It looks really nice on. It has like a little bit of sparkle from the primer that's in it, which I actually like because I think it adds a little bit to this. It is a peachy pink kind of look. I mean, it has a little bit of coral to it. I actually think it looks nice on my eyes because I went with the warmer look because it contrasts the blue. But there's enough pink in there so that it's not like, it's like a pinky coral. So I do like it. It's not my favorite color story. It's a nice color story, but it's not my favorite. But I do think it will be something that a lot of people do like because I think it's a popular color story right now. And the packaging is just outstanding. And I will take, like I said, the blue, I think it's Blue Danube, I can't remember, and put it in here. And then I'll do a video with that pretty soon. So both the products are performing exactly like they should, and I really, really like them. The lipsticks, on the other hand, I do not like. Now, do I like the lipstick itself? Like the case and everything? Yes. Do I like the colors? No. So let me show you the bullet. There's like design elements on the bullet itself. Isn't that pretty? I mean, it's really, really nice. And they're actually very comfortable to hold by the shape of the Cle de Peau's. I like the shape of the way they do the casing. It's like concave on the other sides. The thing is, the shades are just not my shades. This is Fearless in Coral, and it is absolutely a coral shade. And Fearless in Coral, why is it doing my face? I'm like, get away from my face. Fearless in Coral, hold on, there we go. Fearless in Coral is a very coral shade, which I just said twice. And that one is the matte. It is actually a very comfortable matte, I have to say. The other one, which is Radiant in Pink, it is a satin and it's pink. It's like Barbie pink. So I don't really like either shade for me. For my coloring, for what I generally wear, I like brownie shades. I like orangey burnt shades. So these aren't my shades. but I think a lot of people will like them. So let me show you the pink one. When I say it's pink, it's pink. Like, it's Barbie pink. See? And that's just not me. That's just not my shade. But it is a beautiful Barbie pink. So if you like that shade, this is the formula is excellent. The Cle de Peau formula is really, really good. All right, now the coral is more my shade, but it's a matte. Now, does it come off as like a true matte? No. It comes off as like a very creamy matte. So I would wear it, but you can see, again, it's not really I mean, if you've watched me before, and by the way, if you haven't watched me before, hi, my name is Jennifer. Nice to meet you all. And I was a makeup artist for Chanel half a lifetime ago. Here on my channel, I do all things luxury, beauty, makeup, fashion, it runs the gamut. And I try to publish 2 to 3 times a week. So yeah, so that's, neither one is my thing. But I do like the coral shade more than I like the pink shade. If I had a different colored hair, which you can't really tell at the moment, but my hair is auburn, it's red, and I mean, you can tell, but you can't see it as much on my face because it's up. The pinky shades and even corals can be contrasting with my hair color, and they don't tend to look as good. So yeah, that's the issue. So what I did is I put the pink on like the middle of the lips, and then I put the coral kind of over it, and I frankly liked that look better than I liked them individually. So I'm gonna put the coral on. I think you can see it's very pigmented and very bright. Now, again, if you like a bright coral lipstick, and it's very smooth, and that's a matte, so it goes on really, really well. The pink is that Valentino almost Barbie pink. Which is very popular right now. As I said in my fashion video, Barbie core is still going strong. So if you want that shade, go with the Radiant in Pink. So what I would say about the overall collection, I really love, I bought this collection because I buy the Cle de Peau packaging. Cle de Peau is expensive. The products are almost always great. Sometimes I'm like, eh, but like the formula, in my opinion, is always really, really good. I've never had a Cle de Peau product where I was like, the formula's bad. That's not happened. I have not liked some of the things. Like I don't particularly like these shades, but the formulas are always good. The lipsticks are beautiful formula. It's like a matte, does not feel like a matte at all. The Luminizer is stunningly beautiful. Like it's just a beautiful Luminizer. It works really well on mature skin. It looks beautiful on. I would just tell you, I don't see a huge difference between the Luminizers on the face unless it's like a totally different color story. And what I mean by that, like this one has like a bronzy kind of look. This one is a little bit different than the one that we use today that has the green or mint or whatever in it. I'll take a little bit of this and I'll show you what I mean. It is a little different because literally the shades are totally different shades, but it's not so drastically different. I'm putting it underneath that you would be like, oh yes, you know, one is a totally different, like, no. This one has a brownier, you can kind of see it. This one, you know, but it's not drastically different, even when it's a totally different color. So in my opinion, the Luminizers, you know, buy a couple of Luminizers that you really like. You don't need every single Luminizer. I collect them at this point, which is why I'm going to buy the lavender one. But I will say that lavender one does look, and this one does look a little bit unique compared to some of the other ones I have, because this one has that minty green in it. The other ones don't have that much of a green. And then the other one has that lavender shade. It's almost all lavender, and I don't have one like that either. I would also say that they don't show up that differently on my skin because my skin is very, very pale. I think, and relatively neutral, leaning pink, but leaning cool, but relatively neutral. If you have a skin tone that is much deeper, much warmer, more yellow, more, I think you will see more of a difference based on each luminizer. For me, there's not that much of a difference, to be honest. But I have used these on other people where I've been like, oh, there's definitely more of a difference there. Because the green or the pink or the blue or the lavender or the brown, whatever it is, contrasts more with the undertones or the depth of the skin. I don't really have that happen with mine. So I think if you're color matched for me, pick a couple luminizers that you like, pick the ones that, you know, the packaging, whatever. You don't need all of them. If you're somebody who has a particular undertone that's very pronounced, warmer, yellower, whatever it is, you're gonna wanna go with a color story that complements that. So those are the things that I would say to keep in mind. But overall, it's gonna work on pretty much everybody because, again, it's not strobe highlighting. It is pigmented though, so don't worry. If you use a denser brush, it's gonna show up, which I'll show you. And the green in here, don't be worried about the green. It's not like you're gonna have green on your face. That's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna take a very dense brush. So this is a buffer brush. This is a smooth buffer, and this is a dense brush. This is not what I would not use this for highlighter, but I want to show you something. So if I take this and kind of stamp it on my skin, can you see the brightness, the intensity of this highlighter? So yeah, I'm gonna have way too much highlight on my face, but you can see what I'm talking about, and I didn't even buff it in. So it's a very pigmented highlighter. You don't have to worry about it showing up on you. It's gonna show up on you. I'm gonna try to buff this in a little, which is just gonna make it worse because I have more on the brush. But even if you put a lot on, I don't think it's gonna accentuate texture. I don't think it's gonna look bad on you. You can go in pretty heavy-handed with it and it's still gonna look nice. At least this one. There are ones that I have that are a little more sparkly, actually, than this one is. I don't see that in this one. And you can see it. I am in direct sunlight, so. I mean, it's a great highlighter. The luminizers are excellent. You can, like I said, use it all over the face. If you're gonna do that, just use a very, very fluffy brush, kind of like I did with the original highlight that I did. If you use something very, very fluffy, it'll just give you a, you know, a glow. If you use something dense, maybe you'll like that, but it's gonna look really, really shimmery everywhere. The eyeshadow palette, it's a beautiful eyeshadow palette. The formula is excellent for someone who likes the color story. That's really what it comes down to. It's sort of this coral pink, like the lipstick, coral and pink. That's what you get. Not my favorite color story, but I think it looks really nice. And I think the shades look really good together. The lipstick, as I've said, great formula, not my shades. I will try to figure out this highlighter luminizer thing about which shade is which and what to call them. And hopefully I'll pick up the lavender one if I can figure out how to order it. So if anyone has any details or updates or anything, certainly let me know. I'd love to know if you're interested in picking up this collection, if you already have, if you picked up the Cle de Peau collections before. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon.